All right, we are back here talking NFL free agency this week on the podcast. Joining me today is FanSided's NFL insider, Matt Verderame. Matt, welcome back to the podcast. How are you?
I'm great, Michael. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Happy the NFL is actually doing things now to keep us distracted during these crazy times.
Yeah. It's I thought they moved free agency back. They didn't. And yeah, it was a welcome distraction from all the stuff that's been going on here in the country over the last month or so, couple months or so.
Yeah, I will say that we had some big headlines for sure. I think the biggest, obviously, is Tom Brady moving on from New England, going to Tampa Bay. So, what's your thoughts on that whole situation?
I think it's good for the league. Look, the Buccaneers have been a franchise. They've been down for almost 20 years here. So anytime you can revive a franchise and a fan base, it's a good thing. The Buccaneers are going to get a whole lot of national games. And look, I think for the Buccaneers themselves, obviously, this is terrific. If you're them, you get Brady. I know he's obviously at the tail end of his career, but he's going to be throwing the ball to Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, Cameron Brate, O.J. Howard. He's got Bruce Arians, the head coach, is obviously somebody who loves to throw the ball around. I think it's a great fit for them. And then for the Patriots, I think it's the death of the Patriots as far as, what we're used to. And, they're always contending for the AFC title, for the Super Bowl. Those days are done. If somebody wants to make the argument that they could go 500 or 9-7 if everything breaks right, okay. I mean, most teams can make that argument. I think they're about a 6-win team. Now, if they go out and get Cam Newton or something and he's healthy, that changes the equation. I still don't think they're a Super Bowl contender. I do think they could contend in for the division, but they're done. I mean, as they stand while we're recording this, they're not going to the playoffs. I mean, that team, if you took the logos off their helmets and said, "Oh, this is the Indianapolis Colts," you'd be great. They're winning 5 games. So, Brady, to me, his movement is a revival of one team and really the death knell of the other.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'll go on the New England angle for a second here because New England, obviously, I mean, they have Jarrett Stidham. They just signed Brian Hoyer. You don't really think that's all they're going to camp with, right? You assume somebody else is coming.
You would think, but see, the problem they have, they're capped out. They have no money. So now it's the NFL. You can always trade money. They could trade Joe Thuney because they've got him on the tag, and he's making $16 and I believe $0.1 million. They could move him and quickly open up that kind of space. But I don't know that that moves the needle. Unless they get Cam. I think if Cam Newton goes there and he's healthy, that moves the needle. But that's of course a big couple of ifs. Andy Dalton, to me, again, could they be a playoff? Yeah, okay, they could be a playoff. They're not competing with Kansas City and Baltimore. I mean, they're not. I don't care what. Even if Cam Newton were to go there, they couldn't compete with Tom Brady last year. They're just not that good. They lost Van Noy. McCourty's another year older. They lost Jamie Collins. They lost Danny Shelton. Philip Dorsett, not that he's great, but he's gone. So, they don't have a second-round pick. I think they will continue to look to upgrade that quarterback position. But at this juncture, I don't think there's a whole lot they can do to be anything more than an afterthought in the AFC.
Yeah, I agree with that. The guy who Brady displaced in Tampa Bay, Jameis Winston, still a free agent as of recording. Where do you think he ends up?
It's tough to say. I don't think he's a starter anywhere. And it's weird. I mean, you've never had a situation where guys are 5,000 yards and he's not a starter the following year. But you're about to have it because I don't know, barring injury, where he fits in. I think Jacksonville makes sense. They need another cornerback on the roster now. Having traded Nick Foles, Gardner Minshew is intriguing, but I don't know that anybody's sold that he's the future here for the next 15 years in Jacksonville. So maybe a short trip within the state for Jameis Winston makes sense. And if you're Winston, it's not the worst thing in the world. You go there, things go south. If they're not good, you play 8 to 10 games, and you audition for your next job.
Yeah, I would agree with that. He's going to be on that quarterback carousel. There's a lot of movement on this year. If we take Tom Brady out of it, who do you think's got the most success with his new team?
I think Rivers would be my answer, only because the Panthers are rebuilding. So Bridgewater's going to have a hard time having a lot of success there. It's a great story, but they're not going to be a good team, somewhat by design. Rivers, I think, makes the most sense because the Colts are pretty good. They went out, they traded their first round pick. They got the Forrest Buckner, hell of a player in the prime of his career. They've got a really good offensive line. Hilton and Marlon Mack are two legitimate weapons. Jack Doyle's a nice tight end. He's not great, but he's solid. I think for the Colts, you look at your team and you look at that division, especially after the catastrophe that broke out with the Texans and DeAndre Hopkins. You say to yourself, hey, we win 10 games to win this division. I mean, Tennessee's good, but they lost Conklin. Logan Ryan's still out on the market. They traded Jarrell Casey for a 7th-round pick because they were going to cut him, which is kind of head-scratching considering he's a 5-time Pro Bowler each of the last 5 years. But I think Rivers, although I think he is certainly in decline, and I don't think he's more than an average quarterback at this point, I just think circumstances are going to dictate that he has a pretty good year, in terms of winning some games, maybe even winning that division for the Colts.
Yeah, you brought the Texans up. I wanted to go there next. Can you explain to me what exactly is going on down there? Because I feel like Bill O'Brien has no clue what he's doing.
Yeah, no, nobody can explain that. That's irrationality. When I saw that trade, for anyone who's on Twitter who was following it as it was happening, it initially was reported as David Johnson getting traded to the Texans. So my immediate reaction was, okay, this is just the Brock Osweiler deal in reverse. This time, it's the Texans taking on a really bad contract, and the Cardinals are going to attach, a 3rd-round pick to it. And, okay, I understand that. And then the rest of it came out that they traded DeAndre Hopkins in this thing. And, look, you don't trade DeAndre Hopkins, first of all, ever. Okay, he's 27. He's a 3-time All-Pro. He's on a very palatable contract for how good he is. This guy's a Hall of Fame level player, and they traded him for a 2nd rounder and a swap of 4th-round picks. That makes beyond no sense. I mean, it's just honestly, it was so bad that when it happened on Monday, the trade couldn't become official to the new league year on Wednesday. I thought that ownership would step in and tell him, you are not making this trade. This is insane. We can't do this. But they did it. It's official. And I look at this now and say, how do you trade him for anything less than a 1st and a 3rd or a 1st and a 2nd? But they did what they did. The Cardinals get a steal. And I look at Houston and say, okay, so you traded Jadeveon Clowney less than a calendar year ago. You traded DeAndre Hopkins. You didn't get a 1st-round pick for either guy. You don't have a 1st-round pick this year or next year because of the Larry Tunsil trade. You don't have a 2nd-round pick next year either. You didn't even draft the 3rd round next year. And a couple of years ago, they didn't draft in the 1st or the 2nd round because of the Osweiler situation. So I look at the Texans and just say, if I'm Deshaun Watson, my price just went up through the roof. I mean, it's already a big price. He's a great player. But if I'm him and I'm eligible for that extension this offseason, I'm looking at this thing going, great. So Mahomes is going to get $40 million a year. That's coming. Okay, the CBA is now in place, so we all know the lay of the land. So when he gets 40, okay, I'm not going to get Mahomes money. I know that. But if I'm signing right now, I'm getting 38. And if you don't give me that, I'll play this year out. And I'm going to make you sweat it out because that cap's going to go up exponentially over the next couple of years. It's only going to cost more. The Texans, they put themselves in a brutal spot.
Yeah, that they did. I'm glad I'm not a Texans fan, but New York football fans don't have much better going on. The Giants were at least active. They did get a couple of defenders. They added a tackle. What do you think about what they did this offseason so far?
It was quiet. Blake Martinez comes in. Look, I'm not a huge Blake Martinez guy. He can't cover, and if you can't cover as a linebacker in 2020, you got a problem. But is he better than what they've had there? Yes. So if you want to take that viewpoint of it, be my guest. And it's not a killer of a contract. In 3 years, $30 million. In reality, it's a 2-year deal. They get out of the 3rd year if they have to. So, I don't hate it. I'm not in love with it. I think the biggest problem I have right now with the Giants is they don't have corners. They just do not have corners. I mean, they traded Jenkins away last year. Excuse me, they released him. And fair enough for what he did. He deserved to be cut. But this was an offseason to me. If you were going to be aggressive, go out and get some corners. Go out and get some dominant edge rushers. I mean, Marcus Golden, 10 sacks for them last year, and he's sitting on the market. Go sign Marcus Golden. If you get 10 sacks out of him every year, that's a damn good player. Like I don't understand what Dave Gettleman does. But look, I was at the Combine. I was at the Senior Bowl. I was at the Super Bowl. I ran into Dave Gettleman a few times when he was speaking at the podium. And of anyone that I listened to, asked a question about, he perplexes me more than anybody. So, look, I think the Giants, if they're going to get better, it's going to be in this draft. And I think if you're a Giants fan, you got to be looking at this draft and going, okay, we're pretty good at receiver. Obviously got a great back, got a young quarterback we're going to develop. You got to build that line, and you got to build that defense. That defense needs a lot of pieces. You're not going to get them all in one shot. But if you can walk out of that draft with 3 guys who legitimately contribute to the team, that's a win.
Yeah, I think also part of the problem there is that they had to tie that money up in Leonard Williams on the franchise tag because Gettleman didn't want to make a mistake that he made a bad trade.
That is, look, that trade at the start was ridiculous. And then he had half a sack. And they're tagging him because Gettleman essentially admitted he didn't know how compensatory picks worked. And once he realized that the only way he was getting a compensatory pick is if he was completely inactive in free agency, which he couldn't afford to be, then he said, well, now I got to save face. I got to tag him, which they have the financial flexibility to do, so it doesn't kill you there, but it's ridiculous. I mean, it's the equivalent of, if the Jets had tagged, like Steve McClendon back in the day, you'd be like, what? Like he's fine. Well, who the hell's tagging? It just doesn't make sense. But what Gettleman's done over the years has made no sense in New York. So it's par for the course, unfortunately, for Giants fans who are hoping to get better soon. Now, look, the biggest thing now is Daniel Jones just has to play well. If Daniel Jones plays well, this other stuff to a degree will sort itself out. Gettleman will not be there forever. But you got to hope that Jones plays well this year, and you got to hope that Joe Judge surprises some people and proves to be a good coach.
Yeah, as a Jet fan, I'm very thankful that they made that trade and gave the Jets the extra 3. What do you think about Joe Douglas, what he's done in free agency so far?
I like Joe Douglas, and I think the Jets have tried to be active. They just haven't quite gotten it. They were in on Byron Jones, doesn't work out. They cut Tremaine Johnson. They had to do that. That was obviously a sin of another front office, so you can't blame Douglas for that. Fan to me, look, he's an upgrade for them at right tackle. I think he's an average right tackle. They paid him okay money. Again, another 3 or $30 million deal. So there's a lot of them in free agency this year. I would like to see the Jets for 2 years, $20 million. Either re-sign Robbie Anderson, which now he's on the Panthers, or maybe just go out and try to get Emmanuel Sanders. Now, look, Sanders isn't going to be the future for them, so I get why they would pass there. But you got to have somebody. You got to have somebody for Dolphins football too. I know that this class is great with receivers, but if you're the Jets, aren't you taking a left tackle here? Like, that's kind of got to be the play in the first round, as long as there's not some crazy run before you get to him. So I would have liked to see the Jets, add a receiver, maybe add one more, capable offensive lineman like Conklin to me. I mean, 3 years, $42 million. The Jets could have done that. I would have liked to have seen the Jets done that. So, hey, it is what it is. I think the Jets haven't been necessarily bad, just more inactive than I would have liked to see.
Yeah, that's fair. And we'll wrap up our talk here. A couple things. Who do you think are the biggest winners and the losers so far in the free agency period?
I think the biggest winners, I think 2 teams. So the Bills, to me, did a really nice job. They added Mario Addison with 10 sacks. He replaced Phillips. I'll get to in a second here. Stephon Diggs, wasn't a free agent, but trading for him, they look a decent haul. But I am one who says, I don't care. If you're trading draft picks for guys who are young star players, which Diggs is, that's fine. Like, that's what you're hoping to find in the draft anyway. So you can't do it all the time or you'll be broke. But the Chiefs did it last year. Frank Clark won Super Bowl. Like, I don't have any problem, with teams doing that. So I thought the Bills did a nice job. And they had a great class last year. It really panned out for them. John Brown, Mitch Morris, Cole Beasley. So I thought the Bills, it wasn't an unbelievable, oh my God, look at everybody we got type of class. But I thought they filled some holes, and I thought they did a nice job. I thought they were smart. And then the other one would be the Cardinals. And again, it involves a trade. I mean, Hopkins, we talked about earlier. I just don't know how you do any better. In fact, I thought the most hilarious part of that whole thing was the Cardinals got a fourth round pick back. Like, what, were the Cardinals not going to do that trade if they didn't get a fourth back? Like, Houston actually gave them a pick. That was hysterical. But like, Jordan Phillips had 10 sacks last year as a D tackle. He led the AFC for interior defensive linemen in sacks, and they got him for 3 years and $30 million. I think it's a nice signing. I think the Cardinals did a really nice job. They set themselves up now where they can go into the draft and they can get a left tackle, and they've had a hell of an offseason. As far as the losers, I'll say the Bears. Look, you just cannot pay Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham can't play, and to give him 2 years and $16 million and a no trade clause is just. I mean, talk about just ridiculous amounts of leverage you shouldn't have. That's a great example. I think, Robert Quinn's a good player. 5 years and $70 million, and he's playing across Khalil Mack. They could have signed Marcus Golden for 2 years and $20 million, who's younger, and he would have 10 sacks a year playing across Khalil Mack. You're never going to get doubled. It's chip. So I thought that was a lot of money for a guy that's at the end of that contract and he's 34 years old. And then the Foles thing, to me, I just don't understand. Like, I know he's got a lot of familiarity. He's worked with Nagy and Laser and DeFilippo there, but I don't get it. Like, to me, you could have just signed Cam Newton. He was a better player and probably would have come much cheaper. You wouldn't have had to give up a draft pick. I just don't like what the Bears did this offseason.
Yeah, they were definitely what I'm scratching my head at. And my last question for you, like, of the unsigned guys as of recording, who are the ones you are keeping your eye on, see where they go? Because they could be impact guys for their new teams.
This is a few. I mean, the obvious one's Clowney. We don't know where he's going yet. You talk to people around the league, and there was an expectation with Clowney. He wants $20 million a year plus. My understanding is, if he gets 15, 16 million a year, he should be thrilled. This is not a big market. I think the teams are terrified of the medical with him. Had a lot of injuries in the past. I think there's a concern there, and maybe justifiable. There have been a lot of injuries, so that's one guy. Another guy I'm watching. I think Rashad Breeland is a really good corner. Like, he's somebody. If I'm the Jets or the Giants, I'd be all over. Rashad Breeland. The Chiefs relied on him heavily last year as the year went on, especially when Thornhill, the free safety, got hurt. And they kind of had to change their defense a little bit. They moved Kendall Fuller back to safety. But Breeland, he played a lockdown ball for them. I'm not trying to suggest that he's, Revis Island 2.0. He's certainly not. But he's a good corner. He's a borderline one, a really high end number two at worst. And he's in the prime of his career. I think Breeland offers a lot of value out in the open market.
Yeah, two guys to watch for sure. Matt, thanks for all the time today. I really appreciate it. Before I let you go, how do people follow you on social media and keep up with some of the stuff you're doing over on FanSided?
Yes. I mean, obviously, look, for FanSided, I'm the NFL reporter. I mean, check out fanside.com. Check out fanside.com/NFL. I have Stack in the Box, a column that goes up every Monday morning at 6 a.m. And also have, just pieces throughout the week, and also Stack in the Box of the podcast, which we do every other week during the off season. Check it out on iTunes. Subscribe, give it a like, give it a rating. We really appreciate it. And as far as social media goes, I'm on Twitter much more than I'd like to admit. And you can follow me at Matt Verderame, Verderame. And don't be afraid to say hi. I always love chatting it up with people, talk football.
All right, sounds good, Matt. Thanks.
Thank you.